I absolutely love the Future Leaders program, and I did learn quite a bit. So till this day, I still use the skills I learned in this book. So part of the Future Leaders program, they handed out this book called Your Brain at Work. We read this book and I've taken so many principles and applied it to my day-to-day life. This helps us understand the limitations and the capacity of our brain. So one thing I learned is our prefrontal cortex could only hold so many things on it at once. So if you're trying to remember things, don't do that. Write it down and to free up the energy and the space in your brain to do the tasks at hand. So since I've read this book and done the Future Leaders program, I write everything down. So no matter what it is, I don't try to memorize anything. I pull out my phone, I have my notes. My wife always laughs at me because my lists are always incredibly long. I do the same thing every day at work. I have my list, everything I need to do, etc. But that way it gets it off of my brain. I'm reserving that power to focus on the core tasks, not multitask. So that's something else this book talks about. So don't multitask. And there's a ton of other great recommendations. But once again, I recommend for anybody, read this book, Your Brain at Work. But the Future Leaders program, I just learned so much and it was absolutely wonderful.
So first off, what did I learn? Well, a couple of things. So firstly, we learned some good negotiating skills and strategies that can be used in the workplace or in your personal life that were very helpful. Secondly, we learned how to work in a small group to accomplish a big goal, which was in the form of the final group project that we spent a lot of time and effort on. And thirdly, we learned to improve our public speaking skills, where every month we had to present a 5-minute presentation on any topic that we want. And afterwards, we would be given feedback on how we did and how we can improve.
So I think the biggest thing I learned is just getting out of my comfort zone, meeting new people, learning how to network. I think that was the most rewarding part for me, and making some really good connections with people that I would otherwise not meet. And it was also great learning about some of the curriculum and some of the leadership training and personality kind of exercises that we went through during the course.
What did I learn from the Future Leaders program? I really got a whole introduction to the mortgage industry. From the first event that you plug into, which is Legislative Day, where you're able to go up to Sacramento and talk to lobbyists and congressmen and women and understand the impact of legislation on our industry and on our borrowers, more importantly, and what we need to know and what we need to be aware of from a legislative side of things that could positively or negatively impact us as originators and as an IMB in the space. So that was the first event that happened, all the way through the other conferences I was able to attend, including the secondary servicing, innovators, all the different things where you really get a whole exposure to all parts of the assembly line. The impact of secondary, of servicing, of marketing, of the different technology associated with those different components, and of course, all the steps in between. Understanding who is who in the mortgage industry, and what different companies we're competing against and running with in some ways, and really getting exposure to leaders within the industry. And as you learn, it's a smaller world than you think. So as you network at some of these events, you just get exposure and you're able to see who the movers and shakers are. And you're able to build relationships so you can understand what different companies are doing and how we can use that information effectively. So that's kind of the big picture of what I learned.
What was my favorite experience in the program? It was definitely the workshop seminars in Dana Point, because that's where you learn how to become a leader in the industry. And there were some excellent keynote speakers who gave classes on that. And also, it was just an awesome networking event because I met some cool people from all different sectors of the industry, and now I'm going to be seeing them at all the conferences going forward.
One of my favorite experiences, the one that stands out the most when I was a part of the Future Leaders program, there's a couple. So you meet a ton of amazing people. I don't even remember how many people were in my class. I think it was between 30 to 40 individuals were a part of my year that I did it, which was, oh my gosh, it's probably 4 years ago now, maybe more. But we were put into groups. So you met a lot of great people in the industry, which is awesome. I still talk to some of the people till this day. I've helped a few of them actually with loans and whatnot. But one of my favorite things was we have a competition. So you break out into groups of 4 and it's like a Shark Tank for the mortgage industry. So anyway, long story short, my team, we pitched an idea and we won that year. So I still have my award from winning the contest, but that was an absolute blast. We got up in front of the CMBA board of directors and we pitched our idea. So that was a wonderful experience for me.
So my favorite experience with the Future Leaders program was probably at the end where we had to present an idea to the board. And this is the board of the California MBA. So it's a group of experienced leaders in the industry who run very successful companies. And so we got the opportunity to present to them, and then afterwards had dinner and hung out around the fireplace. And I just remember thinking, wow, this is so cool that all of these people took time out of their schedules to sit with us, meet with us. And I just really enjoyed learning more and getting to know them.
One of the things that you will do as a future leader is you will put together a potential business plan within the mortgage industry. You and a few other future leaders from a few other companies, you're going to put together a business plan, and you're actually going to pitch it to the board, the CMBA board. And that was probably my favorite experience, just the process of developing that business plan and actually having the opportunity to hear feedback from board members. And board members are people like Suzanne Livingston or Brad Livingston at other companies. You know, the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, those types of people are who sits on those boards. And so to be able to engage with and interact with and get feedback from and perspective from that level of a person was so valuable to me. And of course, you know, the presentation and the business plan is great, but really the dinner afterwards where you get to pick the brains of giants in the industry is what was most exciting to me.
Why would I recommend this program to someone? I'll say because it will help you become a more active participant in the workplace and in your life, because you're going to learn how to better voice your opinion in a positive manner. And also you're going to do exercises to identify your strengths and your weaknesses, so you know what you're doing well at and where improvements can be made.
You get to travel to a lot of amazing places, you get to meet a lot of amazing people, and you just get to develop yourself from a personal skill standpoint. And all of that's invaluable. So it encompasses networking, fun travel opportunities, and you get to learn so many great skill sets. So I highly recommend it, and sign up, and hopefully you can be chosen to be a part of it next year. Thank you, RWM, for allowing us to do this. I think it's a great perk for us young future leaders.
Yes, I would definitely recommend the Future Leaders program to anyone who is interested. I think it's great just to get out of your day-to-day and think further about your career and your goals. And I think this is a great program to do this. And then also networking with other people in the industry, other companies that we may work with. And it's just great to have those connections to lean on as we're all moving forward. So it's definitely a really special program that I would recommend.
You know, I think the end of your comfort zone is where life begins, and Future Leaders really puts you out of your comfort zone. It puts you in environments where you have to learn to network, you have to learn to engage, you have to learn to associate with people that are better in many ways than I was and than I am. And that's the best place to be, is in rooms with people that are bigger than us. So if you want to stretch yourself and grow yourself and put yourself in environments that are going to stretch you and grow you so you can understand more and gain more capacity, that would be a program that I would consider for sure taking on. And you just get a lot of opportunity to build friendships with people across the industry. Of course, other future leaders that are in a similar boat to you, that are learning the industry and, you know, growing in their roles within their own companies. And you kind of get to build a little subgroup with your own future leaders, and then of getting exposure to the giants of the industries is really the biggest piece. So that would be why I would recommend it. And it was such an awesome experience for me, and I hope it is for you too.